right, we are back with we don't have Shorty tonight. We got Shorty tonight apparently. So, no, seriously though, we got Jose Shorty Torres with us again. Welcome back, man. And we are back for episode 15. So, what the hell's going on over there?
I just finished working out. I'm in the upper house, or for me, I like to call it the Mexican house because the upper's from Mexico. It's a bunch of Mexican fighters. They're here, Mexican, you get it. And Shorty is my American name. Shorty is my Mexican name. So anytime you hear a Mexican who doesn't really speak English, they were like, "Oh, tu nombre es Shorty," because they were like, "Oh, your name is Shorty," but they can't say the sh part. They say Shorty.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I'm Shorty for today since I'm just finished practice, so I'm still sweating.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. Because you're giving me all these Spanish lessons here. I better start learning them real quick. Yeah, man. A lot of stuff going on in the last, I would say, like 24 hours. I mean, I know that you had some stuff going on last night, and then obviously we don't have to talk about that, but you got some things heating up with Brave CF. I think the talks of possibly you and a particular someone from the UFC. So. What's going on with Brave CF?
I really don't know because I was supposed to fight in August.
Yeah,
Then what? I don't know what happens to the event. That's all behind the scenes stuff that I just don't know. And then they're like, "Hey, we're gonna put you in a card in September." I think I know for sure they had three events, but I think they had four. So I'm like, "Oh, cool. There has to be room in one of them." The only problem is I also get paid a really good amount of money for being one of Brave's top fighters. Obviously, former champ now, where it's
right.
like they want to highlight me. They want to put me in a specific card. When they had me in August, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna fight in Colombia, Latino, or Latin fighter, Latin country makes sense." But
Yeah,
since that event got canceled or postponed, all the events in September were in Europe. No offense to me or Europe in general, but I'm also not European. For the most part, even though I have light skin and I might be Spanish, somewhere in my bloodline, I'm not European. So they were like, "Oh, we'll fit you in a card," and I guess they couldn't find something that sounded appealing to them. So I got pushed back once again to December, or at least again, that's what they're
yeah,
telling me. And I'm having a problem because one, the inflation here in the States is fucking ridiculous. And two, my last fight was in May and technically I'd lost. So I only got paid half the money. You get show money and you get win money. So for me, I don't have a part time or full time job. This is my full time job. So for me, I'm like, dude, I need to fight. Need to fight because this
yeah,
inflation here sucks. Like literally almost all my fight money from my last fight, besides paying my managers, my taxes, and all that stuff, is pretty much gone. So, or if not, very, very close to that. That's why I've been trying to make a lot of noise. And then Mokaev got released, got signed to Brave, and I'm like, that little light bulb came above my head, and I was just like, dude, that would be a very fun fight. Now, just like Lazy Boy, I see Mokaev as a little brother. Like he literally texts me before every call out, before every like fight that he has already scheduled, even days before. Hey, what do you think I should do against this guy? And I'll give him some advice,
yeah,
respectively. Like, dude, I see his little brother. We're part of the same team in Bahrain, KHK, and we used to train together. The last time I trained with him, I believe, was in 2021, a little bit after COVID, or technically during COVID still. And we had a great time. Cool little brother, having a great time, and just a cool person in general. So he gets released and goes over to Brave, and I'm like, dude, that makes nothing but sense to fight him. He wants to get back in the UFC, and no offense to Brave, and no offense to the Brave fighters, but fighting guys right now that have no name doesn't do anything for him. He can beat 20 of those guys. I personally don't believe would resonate anything well with the UFC. The UFC would be like, all right, cool, you're just beating some no name guys. Yeah, they have good records, but they probably already beat guys that have no names either. So what's the point? Two, he has a phenomenal resume. So all these guys are going to call him out. And if he loses to them, it's only going to be worse. And again, no offense to the last opponent in Kosi and the Belly that beat me. And again, he is a good fighter, but I technically lost twice to him. But he is still a no name fighter. Me losing to him, and even technically me beating him, didn't do anything for me besides it being for the belt. But for him, he has on his resume now that he beat me. So if he does go to the UFC or Bellator or whatever other promotions, he can say, "Hey, this is the staple fighter I fought against that was a UFC veteran as well." Can bump up. Also, Mokaev was a two-time amateur world champion in the junior division. I was the first ever two-time world champion before there was a junior division. It was just the open division, every all
Yeah.
ages. And I was like, okay, cool. So we have two-time IMF world champs. I was a two-weight division multiple time defending Titan FC champion. He was a very dominant, brave fighter. I also was a former Brave champion. He was also a very dominant, possibly one day going to be the UFC champion in the flyweight division. I also have beaten someone higher ranked than him that he technically wasn't close to yet. Yeah, I think Amir Bazi's number two, number three or two, and Mokai was number six when he got released. So for me, it's like I think resume wise, it only makes sense. And coincidentally, he texted me yesterday. He's like, "What? This is funny." I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, it's kind of funny, but dude, I think we should do it, especially if it's for the belt. Like, why not? We both fight. One of us obviously is gonna win. One of us obviously gonna lose. At least if we fight for the belt, like the belt stays with KHK, like, dude, that would be amazing. Plus, resume wise, you beat me. You beat someone who beat someone higher than you, and I'm a high level fighter. I might have not been ranked when I was in the UFC, but I also was a brave champion. So you beat a champion at the higher weight class. It only looks better for you. And he never really remarked too much about it. He goes, no, 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 yeah, it makes sense, and that was it. Never said like, oh, I agree to it, or this is the fight that's gonna happen. Brave is teasing it, but I also don't believe Mokaev will take the fight. Um,
Yeah.
and this is not from his words. This is just me purely speculating of it doesn't make sense for let me rephrase that. It makes sense for him to fight me, but it's also too much of a risk factor. Because one, we used to train, so I know his style. Two, I know his style very well to where I coach him before his fights. And I'm not even with him. And I'll text him, hey, this is what I believe you should do for these opponents. And for the most part, he does it, or at least agrees with it. He's like, damn, thank you. That actually sounds really good for my style of fighting. So
Yeah.
I know him really well. And then three, I mean, when we used to train, obviously this was 3 years ago, technically now. I'm not saying I'd beat him up, but I do fairly well. Now, obviously, if he was my age, he would kick my ass. But he's still a young, not too experienced fighter. I think he's more athletic than I am right now, but I easily have way more experience than him. And I just believe it's too much of a risk for him to take that fight. I just think it'd be a very fan entertaining fight. Again, I'm not here to I've complained and ranted about it on this show a few times. I'm not here to just fight people. Like, yeah, I want to make money, that's for sure. But if I want to fight and possibly have that chance to lose, dude, I want to lose to a Patchy Mix. I want to lose to a Rafian Stats. I want to lose to a Sean O'Malley Marab. Hell, I want to
Yeah.
lose to a Muhammad Mokaev, where people are like, dude, this you fought him. Like, yeah, it might have not gone your way, but damn, like, and Kosi and the Bell, and again, not at all putting him down whatsoever. But losing to him right now does nothing to me. Now, if he becomes champion in a different promotion and starts dominating the world, not just in Brave, damn, you lost in Cozy and the Belly and you did a trilogy. That's fucking phenomenal. But right now, there's nothing to speak on.
Yeah.
So if I lost to Mokaev, it's like, damn, you lost to another, multiple time champion, this, that, whatever the case may be. It's like, yeah, and I went for it. I would love to fight him, and that's purely again, if I ever call someone out, it's only out of honor and respect. I don't call people out that I know I could beat or that I think are easy fights, or I'm like, dude, you suck, or I'm talking smack. No, dude, I want to
Yeah.
make a paycheck, and then two, it's a fight that I know the fans want. Like that would be fucking phenomenal. I just don't believe also that Brave wants it. Like it's one of those that they want it, but they also don't because they apparently have paid Mokaev 3 times more than what the UFC did.
Yeah.
Again,
That's what I
apparently,
heard.
I don't think so, but that's just me. I think they paid him well. They probably paid him more, or if not, worse than worse, matched it. But I don't think they paid him 3 times more.
Well,
Because if they paid him 3 times more, he's only gonna fight probably once a year. Like I get paid a good amount for Brave, and I fight at most twice a year. I don't see him fighting more than twice a year. So for him being young, like, and that's the only complaint I have right now. And again, COVID didn't help, and my personal injuries, my personal backouts don't help too. So we're both at fault here. But this career only lasts so long. Like I'm hitting the bag upset because I'm like I'm in shape, I'm ready to fight, but I'm not given an opportunity. So I'm
Yeah.
frustrated, and I think this would be a really really great present and reward for being patient and waiting until December.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I've seen that that they were posting all like the quotes. Was that your quote, by the way?
Yeah, no, that was my quote. I talk a lot of
Yeah,
shit.
where did they get that from?
um, who the hell was it? Was it I? Maybe it was this or some other. I mean, I do a lot of shows, so I have no
And
clue.
well, if it was from our show, they better freaking give me the right. They better give us the rights to that. Come on, like, because usually with quotes like that, if it's not official under promotion, normally, they'll put it like they'll credit it to the so and so podcast or this interview from somebody or whatever, and they didn't put anything underneath. I was like, Brave, come on,
Yeah,
let's
if
go.
it's
Like,
I,
give me some credit.
I'm assuming it's from this one, and sadly, I just don't Brave. Again, some of the people they hire, again, it's not at all talking smack to Brave
No, no,
whatsoever. But the fact is, like, they see the quote, and that's fine. They just forget to reference it. It's like
yeah,
a
and
it's like a school
I'm not
paper.
that pissed.
Like it's
No,
a
I'm
school
not that
paper,
pissed.
where it's like they did this, but damn, they forgot to reference it. Like so it's like my bad. Is that plagiarism? So
But yeah. Other in other news though, I saw that you were on Fight Bananas. Was that just recently?
no, I'm actually gonna be on there tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. So because I know like a lot of people have done things where they pre-record. I know that's what you do, right? With the Shorty show, like you
Yeah, so
pre-record and then you just
with
like put it live after.
yeah, we don't put it live, we just put it on YouTube. The crazy thing is, like, we recorded 7 episodes.
Jeez, man.
We've had Alex Perez. We've had Daniel Sohuber, Lazy Boy, so Ronaldo Rodriguez. We've had Christian C. Rod Rodriguez. We've had Cameron Else, another UFC veteran. Who was the one we just had? Fuck, that was what was that, five? Damn, there's two more. We had Biagio Ali Walsh, and then we also just yesterday had Evan Eldar. And dude, every show has been super different. It's because I know all these guys to a certain amount.
Yeah,
And for example, Cameron Ellis and I live together, and when we talk, we shoot the shit. It's like, for my show, I want it to be locker room talk. Like, you might say some shit that you're like, oh, I probably should have said that, but you're comfortable enough to say it in front of me. It just so happens that a camera's watching. Now, again, I'm
yeah,
not trying to get anyone canceled or trouble, but it's just fun. Like, I want people to know the real you, not just like, oh, there's a camera. I'm running for president, and this is why. It's like, no, dude, just be yourself, have fun, and people will like you
yeah,
more. Like, I'm not trying to show off just fighting. I want to see someone cry. I want to see someone laugh. I want to see someone do anything. So yesterday, that Cameron Else, he was a paratrooper in the British military, so he was telling us some of the stories, and we're like, dude, you're a fucking menace. Like, holy shit. Literally. Like, I'm telling you, his episode is gonna blow up because it's so bad in a very funny way that you're just like, oh my god, I'm pretty sure you go to jail what you did. That, like, just pranks. And then yesterday, Evan Eldar, he's a very religious guy. And but he's not one to, like, put his faith on you, and he's not like a Jehovah's Witness that knocks on your door and it's like, hey, has anybody told you about Jesus Christ today? Like,
yeah, yeah,
like, he just talks and he speaks very positively. And dude, I was like, hey man, you're involved in the church, you're very religious. Can you, like, tell us about it? And man, he ranted, but in the most positive way that I was just like, I just sat there like gawking at him because he looked like he was glowing, dude. Like, the way he was speaking, I was like, I just want you to own a church and just be a pastor because you're so phenomenal. Like, I'm not a religious person. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe, but I'm not a person. I'm not a church goer, stuff
yeah,
like that. And this man was like, dude, what do I got to do to sign up? Like, oh my gosh, like, do I follow you? Because I'll follow whatever you want me to do. I'll do it. Because he's so positive. Like, this aura was going around him, and every time he was talking about God or Jesus Christ or different parts of religion, he was just like, oh man, this is that, and he would just start going. You're like, and not to, like, flip it, but it felt like I told him, I was like, dude, relating to past episodes, Christian Rodriguez did like a Forrest Gump moment where he took a bunch of shrooms and was like, you know what? I want to go for a run. And instead of running like 30 minutes, he ran for 20 miles. and just took off and just started thinking because the shrooms hit him while he was running. And
Oh
I was like,
shit.
dude, Evan, like the way you're speaking about God and religion, like you're making me trip out, and I'm not even high. Like I could just imagine if I took a crap ton of shrooms, like the Mike Tyson dose, where he just grabs it by hand and just puts it in, that
Yeah.
I would just go for a Forrest Gump, Christian Rodriguez type of run and trip out, but like see God Himself and all these different manifestations and stuff. Like it was honestly, it was amazing. It completely caught me off guard because he also, the fucked up part was he lowballed himself. He's like, dude, I don't know if I can. I don't have crazy stories like that. And then he started talking about God, and I was just like, oh my god, like it was like the Big Bang of how everything happened.
Yeah.
It was. I
It's
can't rant enough about it.
it's crazy how a lot of people they doubt themselves. Like I don't have like say they hop on a podcast, hop on a friend's podcast, and they want to come on. They're happy to do it, but they doubt themselves. They're like, I don't know if I'm gonna be interesting. I don't. But everybody's got a story,
Hmm.
and that's what I like. And even for me, like I can be a very calm, easygoing guy, and then once in a while I come up with something really fucked up, and everyone turns their heads at me, and they're like, dude, where did that come from? And yeah, like I think yeah, everybody's kind of got something. And you know what? The thing is, and I've heard a lot of people talk about doing shrooms and whatnot, and this is obviously I'm on camera here, but I don't know. I don't know if I may or may not be open to it. I know I heard a lot of things. Like it does change you, it does change the way you look at things and think about things. And I think definitely. I don't know if it's legalized in certain states. I don't know the laws in America. I think Canada, it's like medicinal, maybe. I've
Hmm.
seen a lot of like at least I was in my hometown to visit my parents like last weekend or something. Or not the weekend that passed, but the weekend before. And I saw some shop that said mushrooms, but that could have just been I don't know, a family of the mushroom group, magic mushroom groups. I don't know, but yeah, I've heard a lot of great things, a lot of medicinal things. Um, and you were talking about your show, the people you had on. So you had Ronaldo in there. Tell me what you said something about it getting taken down. It was supposed to go on YouTube or something.
Oh, so we posted a reel from Daniel Huber's podcast that we did,
Oh, okay.
and or his episode, and we all live together. Like Danny and I share a room together with two other guys, and one of the other guys is coming back later, so we're gonna have five guys in one room, and then Mike and Lazy Boy stay in another room, and then one of the coaches here, Christian, stays in another room. So we have a crap ton of guys here, and people literally, come in and out, and like I was just start joking around. I was like, dude, like my co-host Justin was like, so where do you guys masturbate? and and out of nowhere, we're just like, oh, that's funny because like there's only three bathrooms, but like 9 or 10 people in the house constantly. And all of us had different schedules, but no one knows each other's schedules. And dude, like we're guys. Like eventually, like,
Yeah,
I'm in the mood.
yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, do this. But the only problem is no one cares in this house. No one knocks. No one knocks whatsoever. And even if the door's locked, we try to force it open. Like everyone's an asshole here. So like, what was it? I was butt naked, and I was in the living room, like just like lotioning up. No, I was brushing my teeth, and I was gonna jump in the shower and then come out, lotion up, all that stuff. And Tarzan walks in, he goes, "Oh, fuck it, I gotta grab my stuff," and I'm just butt naked, like, oh, okay. All right, cool. The door was locked. Like he carted it and everything, and just walked through. So what the fuck, dude? Like she could have just waited 10 minutes, but no. Okay, so the reason why that got taken down was because we were talking about masturbating, and we were talking about how um one of the guys decided to just put it on his phone, but put it on the TV, which phenomenal idea when no one's home. The only problem is the front door isn't locked. Like literally, people just walk in like it's a sitcom show, and so I guess one of the guys was in the front, fucking and just whatever. Already did his deed. It was done, and just was chilling on the couch, whatever. And so Hooper's like, dude, why are you on the couch? Why do you look like that? He's like, oh yeah, sorry, I just finished blah blah. And he was super open about it. He's like, yeah, I just finished doing this, doing that, and he's like, dude, we have cameras here, right? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, there's like for right now, look at this. There's a camera on the corner of that room, you know? So we have cameras in the house, like in the living room, the garage, the front door, the outside, just in the general areas. So we're like, dude, we have a camera in the living room. He goes, oh no, no, the camera doesn't work. He goes, no, they do. All the cameras work. So we decided to text the manager and be like, hey, can you go back to this hour on this day and see if the film's there? And I guess they have a recorded film of somebody from the house just, you know. So yeah, so we that, but it got taken down because I guess it was very inappropriate, or at least maybe somebody reported it and it got taken down because of it. But again, it's locker room talk. Like we're just having fun. It's not
Yeah.
like So it's also again, this is the Ultimate Fighter house. Like it's the Mexican Ultimate Fighter house.
Yeah, and you know what? Like it sucks when you have a really good clip like that that you want to put as a reel or whatever you the shorts or whatever you want to call them on YouTube, whatever. It sucks when you have a really really good one that is really funny and you want to put it up there as like a highlight of your episode, but it sucks. That's just how YouTube works, like they can do a lot of great things for you. They put ads up on your videos and you start making money, you make a little bit a dime or two off your videos, and then next thing you know, all it takes is one person that doesn't like what you got to say or whatever, and they throw it up there, and YouTube recognizes and says, "Sorry, yeah, you're
Well,
done."
sadly, this was an Instagram reel. Like the whole podcast
Oh,
episode is
Instagram.
still
Sorry,
up, but
I just
Instagram. The
threw
only
YouTube
problem
under the
is,
bus.
like Instagram. I think it was up for a solid 24 hours before it got taken down. So I was kind of surprised it lasted that long, but it got around 30,000 views, close to 1,000 some likes. But because again, when you watch videos, people don't like, they just like, they forget to like, they just watch it and they kind of move on.
Yeah.
But dude, it got shared I think 800 times. So just imagine when those people would have finally opened up that video and probably would have shared it more, like that would have blown up. So for
Oh yeah.
me, starting a new show, especially in person, where you pay for the studio, you pay for the co-host, or again, like all these guys take care of me, so in a sense they're sponsoring me, but I could be paying for the fucking studio, or I could be paying for my co-host to edit all these videos, and even just the time, the camera, the editing, all that stuff. My guests coming in, depending on who it is. Some people want to charge money. So,
Yeah.
it's nice that like everyone's helping me. So the hardest part is, and you understand with this show as well, is trying to get people from Instagram to just, hey man, do me a favor, subscribe to me on YouTube. That's all you have
And
to do.
that's yeah, and that's probably the hardest part is getting the people because there's a lot of people that will watch on Instagram and be like, "Oh yeah, I like it," and it's really good. But it's like, no, come on over to YouTube. Now, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up. I was thinking about it today. So when we talked about recording tonight, I thought about some things that's really bugging me with an MMA on Hinge, and not to throw the lads over in the UK under the bus.
This is our last
Um,
show. All right.
no, 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 no. Okay, so the when I got
Bye,
when
Lou.
they
No.
okay, so so when they had me sign on to MMA on Hinge, their idea was, you're a Canadian and we want you to kind of bring MMA on Hinge to Canada because we're very known in UK, which is cool, and they're very respected guys in the UK, and that's cool, and they really got a good relationship and rapport with a lot of UK fighters. Awesome. Um, the problem is when I started doing a lot of stuff from trying to get Canadian fighters and bringing the attention to Canada and just the Western, like, US and Canada. The problem is a lot of our viewers are from UK. So when I've been really focusing on bringing media to Canadian fighters, and especially with the regional circuit and really bringing the attention there. And it's really difficult because all the fans are all UK. So they watch Canadian guys, they're like, oh, what is that Canadian fighter? You know what I mean? Like they're so it's really hard to it's hard to bring in the audience to Canada. So, it's hard, man. And so right now that's kind of my position at MMA on Hinge right now is kind of doing all that and bringing the Canadian stuff. And I've been working with a local promotion right now. So I'm hoping that I'm kind of going to be like their not main media person, but kind of their main guy that kind of takes on a lot of the interviews. And I've already suggested talked to I talked with Lenny and I was like, hey, if BTC wants to use any of our footage from the interviews for their events, like because I've gone to a couple of live events and what they do is they actually do take interviews that the fighters have done with whoever's given them interviews, and they'll take like main part and say whatever, I'm going to do this to this guy and why I'm better. So they what they do is before the fighter walks out, both fighters walk out, they actually have it in real time. They'll have it like on a screen and it'll show like a fighter being interviewed, his thoughts, and then they'll have the other guy, and then they'll have the fighters walk out. And so I've already talked with some people from the promotion, and I say, hey, listen, my interviews are up there. You guys are more than welcome to use it. Just like just put credits to MMA Unhinged or whatever. So I'm hoping for that, and it'll hopefully get our name out there. And interesting enough, their matchmaker actually lives on the same street as me. So and I didn't know this for the longest time. I knew who he was, and so yeah, he's like, hey, he's like, you live in Corona, eh? I'm like, yeah, and he says. He's like, yeah, no shit. He's like, I do too. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Like, I knew you train over at the butcher shop, but like, I didn't know that you lived in Corona. And he says, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then so I'm showing him. I was like, yeah. And I was just showing him a view. I'm like, ah, Corona's pretty nice out today, eh, bud? And he's like, where do you live? And I was like, and I told him where I live on the street. He's like, holy shit. I'm like, what? He's like, I live like 5 houses down from you. I was like, no shit. So once in a while, I'll stop by. We'll have a chit chat about, he was just telling me about a couple guys that he was talking with to set up a fight and whatnot. He's like, hey, I'll talk to the management for you. I'll get you in the interview. So I was like, sweet, you're doing my job. So yeah, it's going good, and hopefully I can really bring MMA Unhinged to Canada and get everything working. It's just like I said, it's hard because they've really established their audience with UK fighters. And now it's my turn to deal with the work to establish those subscribers and audience from Canada to our channel. So it's been a challenge, man. It's hard. It's hard to get people to go from Instagram to YouTube, like you said.
I'm still trying to figure out how. Like, do I
What do you
do like
mean?
the like again the Instagram, because like all you have to do is click the link. The only problem is when you
Click,
click the link,
subscribe.
it opens up a browser on Instagram, but then it says in the very top, open, if you have the YouTube app, open the YouTube app, or open an
Yeah.
external browser, or do it from there, because when you open through Instagram, it doesn't go straight to your YouTube profile. But if you
Oh
open
yeah,
straight to
shit, that's
YouTube,
right.
so it becomes more complicated. So that's the hard part is it's not hard, but again, we're lazy. Like that's why we have technology, because we're lazy. So
Yeah.
you're telling me I got to do like three things just to get to my profile, just to click subscribe? Go fuck yourself. So it becomes a process, and then sometimes reels can be like trailers for the movie. And some people like it, some people don't. And even if they like it, they're like, haha, that was funny. That was probably their best part. And that was it. And they don't want to watch it. So it's like, fuck, So it's trying to find different ways to get people's attention, and it's a process, but I do want to thank a lot of these fighters, like, all the fighters that have been on, like, have a decent amount of followers just on Instagram in general, and have popular names wherever they're from. So just being on is an honor, but then two, for the people who have collaborated, like Lazy Boy hasn't even been on the show yet, but will accept collaborations because his name is mentioned in the episodes. And
Yeah.
dude, because of his audience, it's ridiculous. Like, dude, him and I decided to post a photo of us in wrestling singlets, and like I have almost 40,000 followers on Instagram. Now, I don't know why, but I think Instagram like shadow bans me, and all of my like likes and stuff, or excuse me, all of my posts only get like at most 200 likes, and I'm like, dude, I got 40,000 like followers. This makes
Yeah.
no sense. Like, even when it comes to reels, like, all you gotta do is watch 5 seconds and it counts. And it'll say it's been, watched like 1,000 times, or yeah. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. But Lazy Boy's followers, he has over 500,000. It's fucking like extreme followers. Again, like Mexico follow Mexican fighters. And we
Yeah.
posted a photo of him and I in a singlet and a collab with him. But you see a little bit of an imprint from the singlet. And so no one read the caption. No one looked at how cool the singlets were. They just fucking made jokes about the imprint. And that post blew up. And I don't, dude, it has like 30,000 likes or some shit. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you guys completely avoided the whole caption, the reason of the post. We look tough, we look badass. Nope, let's just look at the imprint. So it's also trying to figure out ways to make these posts funny, to where even whatever's there you got to figure out what the hell people are going to pay attention to. Like, what's the attention getter? Just make fun of it, man, because no one takes stuff seriously anymore.
You know, and the thing is too, there's been people I've talked with, and they've said like sometimes, Ben, another guy that works with us at MMA, and she said sometimes you got to post controversial shit to get people to give you the likes. And it's like, yeah, man, but you know what? I don't want to ever stop being me. I don't want to post something fake just to get the likes. I want to be me. I want to be real. This is who I am. And it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, you know, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. I'm like, yeah, yeah, man, I get it. But like, I don't want to, I don't want to post something that's not real. Like, of course,
Mm.
like if I have a crazy opinion, I have no problem saying how I feel, but I'm not just going to say something that's, I know it's not true just to get people to like my video. I just don't do that. But, he said, yeah, cause he was doing our fight right now. He's a new father. So he's just been, you know, obviously he's been busy being a family man, but he was doing a lot of our like fight picks for a lot of the Baker cards. And he's like, yeah, he's like, maybe I need to say something controversial. He's like, some guy goes on, he was doing, Jesus, it was, TikTok, and he said some guy on TikTok was doing like just saying controversial stuff about some of the female fighters. He's like, and look at all look how good he's doing. I'm like, no, Ben, you just keep doing what you're doing. You just be you. You be real. People are gonna like your stuff or not. He's like, and he's very doubts himself. And I said, Ben, just do you, man. You're doing a good job. You keep it up, and you just have to keep going. You get better and better. Get better confidence in front of the camera. You'll be fine, man. So yeah, it's just I'm to be honest with you, a pet peeve of mine, especially when it comes to uh MMA journalists and the MMA world, is people that try to be something that they're not just to get the views on. I get it, like you want to be interesting, and I understand that, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, having some fun and having some humor and having some personality. Nothing wrong with that. But when you see it, people kind of forcing it, and if it would be like someone trying to pull off like a Sean Strickland, and you can tell right now, yeah, man, that's not you. That's totally
That's
fake. Well, you got a Sean Strickland where that's authentic as it gets. That's just who he is. And it's I guess for me, that's probably the biggest thing that drives me nuts is people that just try to be something that they're not. It's like just do you, just be you, you know?
yeah, no, but that's what the hardest thing is because sometimes so Logic has a song where it's like, no matter what, I think it's an incredible true story where this man is speaking. I can't remember the person who did the speech, but he pretty much states like, just keep on doing what you want to do. Like eventually, there's gonna be somebody who likes it. Like it might not be hundreds and thousands, but there's people who are gonna like it, and you'll create your own little group of people and friends and this and that. It's like, just do what makes you happy. Now, there's the correction part. Is the but. Dude, social media sucks. Like it's really hard to get popular because there's some people, not just myself, that I believe are fucking hilarious or bring up good points or very serious people, but in a very good and positive way. But
Yeah.
people ignore it for a Deadpool type of person. And again, nothing wrong with it, but man, if this is all you want to see, you're not learning. You're not growing. You're not expanding your not just to learn as a person, but you're not expanding your window of let me see if there's other things I like. It's like trying the same plate at or it's like trying the same plate at a restaurant you go to all the time, dude. You can't say that restaurant is great because they have one good plate. Try some other ones. Like maybe they have this and you don't like it. Maybe that place wasn't as good as you thought. It's just this plate that they make really, really good. So try
Yeah.
it because you never know, something else might be your favorite. So a lot of people fall into the pressure of trying to be different, trying to be what's popular. And that's how actually a lot of people get in trouble or even get canceled because they start saying stuff like you said, the controversial stuff that it's not even that they're saying controversial stuff. It's that they're just saying stuff that people can clearly know and see that it's not them saying it. Like it's just not their style. So they're getting called out on it and then eventually they get canceled.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, and that's why I mean, like, just you just see the fakeness in there. But then there's some people like I've seen it where I've reached out. I can't remember the outlet because there's so many now, right? And there was one outlet. I remember watching. I remember watching a couple of videos, and she's been posting a lot of stuff lately about on her stories, and I don't know if she works for Five. I don't think she works for Five Bananas. Um, I don't know. I can't. I honestly, man, it bothers me that I have it in my head, but I can't shoot it out. But they've done a something cage something cage or fight cage or fighters cage or whatever cage, and I've seen she posted stuff on her story, and it's just like I hate watching people like put things on there, and I have to like, and I always reach out because I'm always reaching out to people because, and I'm not doing it for my benefit. I'm doing it for them, like not just to get my name out there. I'm doing it for their benefit because I look out for other journalists because it's good to keep people and it's good to just kind of keep that community together, keep that MMA community together, and look out for each other. And yeah, and she's done a lot of really good stuff too. I like her whole like get up. Like she does a lot of I don't I believe she does work for the outlet, but she does like independent stuff too. And she doesn't I think she's done actually a live UFC event and she did a really good job. She did honestly, she did a great job for her first time. Actually, she asked Derek Lewis a really good question and I really liked that was the first time that was the first video I saw and she asked him about Imo's Pizza in not Boston, but I'm trying to think where Augie's from.
Oh, Missouri, St. Louis.
Missouri. Yeah, St. Louis. And she asked him about the pizza and some reel that she asked him some question. He and Derek Lewis just calling out people. Just how Derek Lewis is,
Yeah.
the way he dresses people. It was just hilarious. The first video I ever watched, and it wasn't really her. It wasn't of her doing. She just asked a question and it was his answer. And that was the first thing I liked. I watched her stuff. I think her name's Bree or Brianna.
I
She was
I,
like,
I just want to say, Emo's Pizza and just St. Louis pizza in general sucks. I've never, and this could be just all the places. I lived there for 5 years. Never had good pizza in St. Louis. I also had never good pizza. I'd never really had good pizza for the most part in Florida. There was a couple places that I'm like, okay, I could do it again, but I've never in most places that I've been to. And again, I'm spoiled as shit because I'm from Chicago, especially with our pizza. Oh my god, not just deep dish, but like the whole tavern style. You guys call it our thin crust, like our usual style. Dude, I'm telling you, hey, if we get Pro Gonzalez in the show, she will rant about it. Like Chicago pizza
"Fuck
is a
it,
shit, and I
let's
think,
get her on her."
dude, St. Louis pizza.
Now we do have to get her on here now.
So you know how Chicago, the deep dish pizza is known for like the sauce on top.
Yeah.
My version of St. Louis pizza, or my definition of St. Louis pizza, is like the crust or dough, whatever you want to call it, because that shit's soggy as fuck. The crust or dough, cheese. There's no sauce. There's no fucking sauce in there. Maybe like a little like thing for color, like a little brush of sauce. And
Okay.
then it's like wherever you thought deep dish pizza would have like this much sauce on top because that's how it is. Picture the same thing, but it's grease for St. Louis. Like it's the floppiest, soggiest, nastiest pizza
Oh,
ever.
that's
Like
fucking
you know
nasty,
how
man.
you know how some people like grab paper towel and they'll like dampen their pizza like this just to get the grease off, but it's still good
Yeah,
pizza. Dude,
that's gross,
you
man.
do that, your sauce is gonna be like my T-shirt. You're gonna like flop it around and like, whoosh, like it's bad. It's I'm sorry, sorry, Emil's Pizza, but if I was Keith Lee, you would probably be shut down if I said anything bad.
Bro, that reminds me of that episode. I don't know if you ever watched the Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares show. He had one and then it got revived just like the last year or two. But he went to some place in Denver and it was this place and he was supposed and I don't know if you understand the idea about the show, but he goes to places and he kind of like rescues restaurants because there's clearly something the owner's doing wrong, whether they're
Yeah.
just half-assed. Okay, so you know the gist. So he went to this place in Denver, and the guy's got a pizza place. Well, he has a thin crust and thick crust, and he's like, and he pulls out the thin crust, and he's like, "This is the thin crust." He's like, "Yeah," and the thin crust was like a thick crust, and it was like the biggest thick crust I've ever seen in my life. And on top, so you got the cheese. I think it was just a cheese pizza. I mean, how can you fuck up a cheese pizza? Well, this guy did, and on top of the cheese was like a layer, like a thick fucking layer like that of grease, and it was just dripping. And I was like, "Oh fuck." And then when you talked about that, that's the first thing that came to my mind. But I mean, what's probably the best pizza you've had?
So if you're talking about deep dish, the best deep dish pizza I've had is Pequod's Pizza. Pequod's Pizza in Chicago is actually voted number one deep dish pizza in Chicago by many people.
Okay.
It's phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. And they only own one spot, so it's not like a Giordano's or Illuminati's or those chains that have built up because of their
Yeah.
popularity. Um, Man, because there's so many just regular like pizzas in Chicago that are so fucking good. So that one I honestly don't know because that one all depends on the sauce. That one all depends if you like the sweet sauce, if you like a mild sauce, if you like a spicy sauce, like so everything that it's really just the sauce on that point. All the pizzas are generally the same. Chili's Pizza, Michael Anthony's on Cermak, all these I can go days with Chicago food. I'm telling you, it's the shit. It's and because again, I think I told you this. Chicago's super segregated. So the reason why Chicago food is really, really good is because we're broken down into ethnicities and neighborhoods. So like
Yeah.
you have a Jamaican neighborhood, you have a Puerto Rican neighborhood, you have this Mexican neighborhood, you have this Mexican neighborhood with papers. You have, different like just different neighborhoods. So for example, if you go to a Mexican neighborhood, what do you expect to eat? Mexican food. Dude, when you have Mexican food and there's one block that has three taquerias or restaurants, it's like, oh fuck, they're gonna close down because it's competition. Literally, only the strongest survive. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
how
That's
good the food has to be because if you're not gonna open a Mexican restaurant in the Puerto Rican neighborhood. No offense, you might get some customers, but not many people are gonna eat it. They're just rather go to the Mexican neighborhood because they probably think some Puerto Ricans are different ethnicities. They're trying to open up and make a taco stand or whatever. It's like, no, man, you go to Mexican neighborhoods to get Mexican food. That's how Chicago works. Here in Vegas, you go to whatever neighborhood, you're gonna get Hawaiian, you're gonna get Asian, you're gonna get, American, you're gonna get Mexican, you get whatever. But in Chicago, you have to go to the certain neighborhoods to get the best of that neighborhood. So like we have a little Italy too. Like, dude, I'm telling you, Chicago is the shit. Like, I'm upset that there's not more events in Chicago when it comes to UFC, Bellator, PFL, all that other stuff.
yeah.
Obviously, it's political, but like just the tourism in Chicago is mainly because of how beautiful the city is and how delicious the food is.
Yeah, and I am kind of surprised because I know, you know what? I think Bellator has done events in Chicago.
Hmm.
They're known for doing Chicago shows. Salt Lake City for whatever weird reason. At least PFL. Yeah, for whatever reason they do a lot of events there. I would like to see them come to Canada. As a side note. But that being said, I'm disappointed with is that where I live well, I don't live in Sarnia, but I live in a little I live downriver from Sarnia, Ontario. I'm really upset they don't have many Mexican places because I want to go to like authentic or not authentic, but as authentic as you
Yeah,
can. At least a
uh,
Mexican place that it's not just some guy that's just like I'm selling you tacos. No, like I
we
want to go with
we
something like
we didn't
kind
travel
of.
that far up north, man. As far as it goes, like Colorado, we're good.
But they do have a place and it's called it's in the Point, by Sarnia, and it's called Los Pontos Cantina, and it's kind of like a. I went there with my wife, and this was before we got married, and this was kind of in COVID, so they had like the all outdoor like dining kind of style, and I remember going there, and it was phenomenal, and I would go back, but sadly we just haven't had the chance. We're just so damn busy and trying to trying to keep up on the diet and everything, and yeah, it's like the only place I know of, and even then I wouldn't even consider it like like a real Mexican place. They just slap a Mexican name on there and do some Mexican stuff. But yeah, I wish they would have more of that. But sadly all Sarnia is like basically pizza places. Then you have like your chains. You got Rotten Ronnie's and you got like Domino's. You got all the other chains, but they don't really have like variety. And I think they might have some Italian places, but I mean, I haven't visited too many places that have Italian places.
There was one place that I went to. So I went to a city when I went to school for my university. It was in Lebanon, Illinois. Lebanon, never heard of it, is a super, super, super small country town. The
Okay.
school is so old for American history here. The school is so old that a lot of the students wanted to join the Union in the Civil War, so the school almost closed down.
Oh
Like,
shit. So we're
like we have
talking
underground.
like
This is old, dude.
yeah,
1800s old. Like,
1865 old. Yeah.
yeah. Like we have underground tunnels at our school, stuff like that. That they're still building new facilities because now it's growing. It's like 80% athletes, which is ridiculous. But um, there's only a handful of like restaurants there. You have to go to the bigger towns down the block, and when I say down the block, it's like 10 miles. Like so, it's a good distance. You want to go to Walmart, it's a 30-minute drive. So um, and that would be all the stuff in like O'Fallon because there was an Air Force Base not too far from us, Scott Air Force Base. But there was a Mexican restaurant there that eventually got closed down. But which oh god, I don't wish bad upon people, but I fucking wish horrible things on that restaurant because I went there and I went with my black roommate Devante, and we go. And I was like, "Oh, dude, a Mexican restaurant, fuck yeah!" Like at least I'm gonna have some Mexican food.
Yeah.
And for me, I think of Mexican like as long as you can master steak, so carne asada, bistec, whatever. Like as long as you can master that, I can order tacos. I can order the big steak, flank steak. I can order whatever, and then the rest of the stuff should be okay. But that's the norm of the norm is you got to master the steak at any Mexican place. And dude, I ordered like the flank steak, and it came out. It was legit like a burger patty with like a bunch of fat on it, and I'm just like looking down, and I was like, I asked for the flank steak, and she goes, "Yeah, no, that's it." I was like, "This is a fucking burger patty." She goes, "No, no, no, that's our flank steak," and I was just like, "Okay, like fuck, I'll try it. Like I'm not gonna knock it." And me, I also grew up with corn tortillas, and so she gives me flour ones, and I'm like, "You don't have any corn?" She goes, "No, no, no. A lot of people here don't like it because it's a very white and black neighborhood. There wasn't. I was the 2% Latino population in my school
Damn,
at
you're a
the time."
minority.
So,
Yeah.
dude, I was my and given I'm very light, so like I'm white. My background technically Spain, so like I'm very light, and so I look white, so I can get away with that shit. But um, yeah, it was 2% Latino, so it threw me off. But anyways, I'm eating this. I'm like, dude, this is fucking disgusting. And I look at my roommate, and again, the words that came out of his mouth, he's eating his burrito. He's doing just ordered this mixture, this combo of like a burrito, a tamale, and like a flauta. And he's just like having a good time. I was like, Devontae, you ain't pissed off. He goes, homie, this is Mexican food. I'm black. I don't give a fuck. And he just starts eating it. He goes, if this was soul food, oh yeah, I'd criticize the fuck out of it. But this ain't. And he just starts going back to munching. And I was like, damn, that's actually some real shit right there. Because I fucking hate this meal. And then the funny thing was, a few weeks later, we'd go to like the barbecue places or soul food places. Like, man, this
Oh
place
shit.
sucks. And I'm just like, what? Oh, dude, I'm Mexican. I'm good. So it's yeah, man. That place sucked and ended up closing down. They were actually it was funny. They were playing. I think they were playing like 50 Cent when I walked in, but it's a Mexican restaurant. They're playing 50 Cent, and I get it that they're trying to like it's a college neighborhood. They're trying to be
Yeah.
hip with the kids, trying to get them to
Yeah.
come in. But oh fuck, yeah. So I was very upset, and they closed on it anyway, so it didn't matter.
Man, they can't rock some simple like Mexican tunes in the background. Like, what the hell's the
Like
matter with
anything,
them? Come on.
anything. But it is what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
like anything. So, volver, anything, man. But it's also with that being said, in my neighborhood, like we're Mexican, but I think because most of us were either first generations or brought to the country at a young age, that the for me being a first generation, technically American with Mexican Puerto Rican heritage, we all tried our best to fight for being like more Mexican, if that makes sense, because we were in America. Like, oh, we're Mexican, but like, like we're not like Baisa or this. Like, we're not like the stereotypical like slang, or slur names for Mexicans. Because you had guys coming with the Mexican boots or the. So I never really listened to like banda music or grupos or anything ranchero music, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've been in this fucking house for like 3 months, and it's all they've been playing, and I'm just like, that's kind of good. This is where I missed out my whole childhood. Fuck, God damn it. So it's been an educational learning experience while I've been here too.
Yeah. And in the house, does everyone basically speak Spanish the whole time, or you got some guys that are kind of American born, or
No, no, no. Everyone here is from Mexico. Everyone. I'm the only American here. Like, yes, I'm Mexican as well, but I was born in the States. So, and I'm also half Puerto Rican. So it's funny because two things. Well, technically three things happen. I for sure speak Spanglish because there's some words that I just don't know, and then coincidentally, a lot of the words, even if I don't know it or don't know how to say it correctly right now, they're very similar to the Spanish word. You know, like it's just adding a few other letters to the Spanish word. So when I say it, it's like, oh, I know what you're trying to say. Like I got it. You know, so I'll speak Spanglish sometimes. Two is technically I'm what you call a gringo. Even though I'm Mexican, I was born in the States, so I have an accent when I speak Spanish. But then
Right.
three, depending on who I'm with, my accent changes because my Spanish isn't perfect and I'm trying to, in a sense, mimic someone so I can get better at my Spanish. So when I hang out with Mike, my Spanish sounds very Mexican. I'm like, que chido, ay, wait, you know, like I'll say all that stuff. And then when I hang out like my Puerto Rican friends, like my guy Taino, I like, for example, Mexicans will say Puerto Rico like Puerto Rico. Like they'll really pronounce everything. But Puerto Ricans don't say their R's really well. We say like an L sound. So we say Puerto Rico. Instead of saying Puerto Rico, we say Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
So they're like, you can hear in the accent. So it's, dude, it's so weird. Like my accent would change, like, oh yeah, mami, ¿cómo está? And they're like, the hell did that come from? Where you sound real Puerto Rican? They're like, oh, hola, mami, ¿cómo estás? You know, like yeah, it's very weird. I'm rambling now.
Well, you know what, man, and I was trying to learn a little bit of Spanish, and I was just talking with some guy. So this guy is from geez, Cuba, and he's from Cuba, and I was like, so I thought, hey, fuck, I'll spill a little bit of something, just have fun, and if I get something wrong, he'll correct me, no big deal. So I
Yeah.
was taking a train back from Toronto, and I was actually there for work, and so I'm on my way back, and I noticed the guy with his name tag. He says he's from like Cuba for whatever reason. It says he's from Cuba. I don't know why. But so I just basically say, hey, my name's Luke. You know, how are you and whatnot in
Yeah.
Spanish. And he starts going back at me thinking, so he sits down, starts talking to me, yep, and I'm trying to trying to slow down, trying to get like keywords. I'm thinking maybe okay, I can take the keywords and then kind of figure what he's saying back to me, and then I can kind of see if I can kind of spill a little bit of Spanglish to him. And then I was like, I don't know what the hell you just said, man. I feel like I'm like Shia
Hmm.
LaBeouf from that one movie when he punches his Spanish teacher. But like, yeah, I was like, I don't know what anything that you just said, man. And oh, sorry, man. And he says, oh, so you don't know much. I'm like, no, man. I just want to test out everything I've learned. He's like, well, how'd you learn? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just I watch stuff and then I look at subtitles of what they said and then I just kind of
Hmm.
I match up. So oh, good for you. You should learn English. Very easy. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, maybe one day. And here I
Yeah.
am, and I'm learning a little bit. I'm learning
No,
about it a
dude,
little bit here.
you're trying. That's all that matters. All I say is trying. Given me, I'm lazy as shit. Like I have the books. I have all the apps. I bought all the like resources. It's just me. I'm fighting myself here. It's a battle. Like I can do any physical work. It's just here that I don't like working on. Besides like mental health wise, I don't like reading. I don't like watching videos where I'm learning because I know I'm gonna fuck up, and I think it's more of a pride thing where I'm like, "Fuck, I messed up. That's it. It's over," and I'll just continue on with something else. So there's actually a bunch of TikTok videos or reels on Instagram that it shows like a person as maybe like not a telemarketer or like support, you know, service support and customer service, and they're like, "Hi, do you speak Spanish?" And the lady's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and they start getting like Caribbean, like super Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican Spanish, and you can't, dude. That's easily the Caribbean Spanish is the hardest Spanish to understand. And I still say that growing up with a Puerto Rican family, when they speak, I'm like, dude, I know you're speaking Spanish, but I can't, like, I have to say, yeah, just to make sure, like, what? Like, tell me again. Oh, okay, cool, I got it. Because it takes me a few tries. Because it's like hearing a guy from, like, Finland talk. You ever hear the Finnish talk? Like,
Oh
dude,
God, yeah, that's
it
terrible.
or the Scottish, like those two together,
Oh fuck, yeah.
fuck. Like that's like literally that. Like it makes no sense. And you're like, dude, slow down. Just Scotty, bring it down. Like It gets very, very wild. And I have, when I went to the Dominican Republic a lot, um, I have a friend there. When she'd speak, I would just look at her and she goes, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I don't know what you're saying." She's like, "Oh, I forgot. You're a gringo. I gotta speak slower." I was like, "Go." So I was like, "Go fuck yourself." But yes, you're right. You know, please help me. And so she'd be like, she would go too slow. I was like, "All right, now you're just being a jackass."
Yeah, and I honestly, man, like I'm the kind of guy, I'm way too polite, and when I have someone that, like, okay, so this guy, and I've seen him at the gym many times, and chill dude, but I just say, hey, how's it going, man? And I never really heard his accent before, but anyway, he's got the tattoo, he's got like the Scott, and I mean I'm half Scottish, and he's got the Scottish tattoo. Whoops, he's got the Scottish tattoo on his forearm, and he's got like the like almost like the flag, and then he's got it. It looks like there's this like the dragon or the lion carrying the flag. So obviously, I get that the whole I think whole idea with the flag. And I just asked, "Oh, nice tattoo." He's like, "Thanks, man." And I'm like, and I thought I heard a little bit of accent, and I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "What's with the tattoo? How'd you why'd you get that? Are you Scottish?" Like, and he starts actually coming out with his accent. It was thick enough where and he was talking too fast, and I'm like, yeah, and I was just nodding my head. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
and he keeps going. So like, luckily he wasn't asking me anything, and I just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like, so how you? And he's like going. I can't even do the accent right
Yeah.
off the hop here. I have to like actually put my I have to put my energy into it, but yeah, and I had to be like, "Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You gotta slow down. I didn't catch half of what you said." And that's where I started getting a little rude. I'm like, "I can't. I caught half of what you say." He's like, "Oh no." He's like, "I know. I get that a lot." And yeah. And I was like, "Man, I'm ashamed. I'm like Scottish heritage, and I can't even understand where he says he's like,
It's
whoa, you from Scotland?" I'm like, "You from Scotland?" And I'm like, "No, man. I'm not. I'm just Scottish. Like I'm Canadian born, but." Family's from Scotland. He's like, "Oh yeah, where from?" I said, Falkirk." He's like, "Oh yeah, nice area." He keeps going on, and I'm like, I got a pump going. I'm like, I gotta, sorry,
just
man, I gotta
get
go.
through it.
I gotta go. So yeah, man, it's that's probably one like goal for me is learning Spanish because it's known all over the world, right? It's such a
Mhm.
common language to learn. And that's probably a life goal for me is learn Spanish, at least learn a little bit, enough that I can kind of, if I'm traveling somewhere, I can use just enough to kind of get me by if I needed
Yeah.
directions or if I don't know where the hell I'm going. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's a process. I how like my girlfriend's Jamaican, but she was born in the States. Her mom and her grandmother were born in Jamaica, and the mom lived in the UK and then also lived in the US for a very long time. So
yeah,
their accent has changed a lot. To where, yeah, when she gets mad, when she speaks, you're like, oh, she's mad because she gets very Jamaican. But
yeah,
like you can understand it for the most part. Dude, her grandma speaks and I'm like, I don't know if you're mumbling, I don't know if you're whispering, I don't know if you're speaking too fast. And there's time like her grandma's fucking awesome. You know, like her and I relate really well, we speak really well. But there'll be times that like we'll be at the dinner table, it's me, my girl, and her grandmother, and my girl's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go grab something." I'm like, no, don't leave me by myself. Fuck. And she'll ask me questions, and I'm like, "Ah, I know you're saying something important, but I just one more time, please." You know, so it becomes a process. So I'm still trying to learn some of the Jamaican dialect as well, not just the accent, but the dialect too. Because sometimes they'll say some things, and I'm just like, "What?" I know kind of what you're saying, but what? So.
yeah. My cousin's husband Dylan, he's from Kingston, and yeah, like for him, I remember the first time I got to experience about culture, and I've been to Jamaica, but I didn't really know a lot about the food or just culture and whatnot. And he told me a little bit of things. Well, I went over, they had a barbecue, and I'm like going over. It was their anniversary slash they wanted to have a barbecue, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And so I went over, and so my sister was there, my mom was there, and we are going over, and my nephew was there. So the whole time I'm kind of on nephew duty, right? And they're blaring some Jamaican music, which is cool, and I actually really like it. It was kind of interesting, kind of different, something different for once. And
Mhm.
they're making all the food, and I see they're barbecuing, and I'm like, oh shit, because like I know it's probably gonna be hot, and so I'm in there, and I said, Dylan, like, I hope like the jerk chicken is not that high. He's like, oh, it's a little spicy. It's not bad. I said, okay. And luckily enough, it wasn't too bad. It had a little bit of a, yeah, a little bit of a bite to it, but it wasn't bad. He's like, oh, you could try the hot sauce. I'm like, is it good? He's like, oh, very tasty, very tasty. So me being a dumbass, I poured all of it, poured the whole freaking thing all over the rice, and I'm putting it all over chicken. And he's watching me. He's like, I'm
Like,
like, that's not a good sign. He's like, no, 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 it tastes good. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm acting like I'm a know-it-all. I'm like, yeah, I like my hot sauce. Look at me. And so I go and sit down. We're all sitting. I started going at the chicken, going at the rice. I'm like, this is good. And then it hits me about 15 seconds later, and I'm like, I feel my stomach, and I'm like sweating. And it was like August of last year, and I'm like sweating, and I'm sweating bullets, and I'm like, huh. And he looks at me, he's like, yes, he's like, enjoy. I'm like, yeah,
mm,
yeah, I'm good, man. And I'm like just sitting there. My whole back is like, because I was wearing a white dress shirt, so my whole back is just fucking, whole streak is just soaked. And my sister's like, "You're a dumbass. Why would you do that?" I said, "I don't know. There's always a first for everything."
yeah, you can't knock it until you try it. If you fuck up, at least you know hopefully not to do it again. Or if not, Evan Eldar and a few other people have told me you can't knock it until you try it twice. First time might just be bad, so you never know. Um,
Yeah.
but dude, I appreciate you. I'm glad everything is well. I'm glad you're cooperating with me because I know we were supposed to be on the show yesterday, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, no worries, man.
And I hope you got some motivation wearing my shirt today while working out. I appreciate that as well. And dude, you're awesome. And I hope everything stays on. I hope we get another chance to either, you know, talk tomorrow night or sometime later this week and let me know. We can figure some more stuff out. And what are we on, 15 now?
We are on 15, my brother.
Oh my God, we're going on 16. Ah! So, dude, I
Sweet
can't wait, man.
16, yes.
Oh, we need to do something special.
Get 16 candles going or something.
I'll be in a dress the next one. I got you.
Well, yeah, and I think that's up on, we're up on time here, folks. So, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to go to MMA on Hinge and subscribe there. I'm not gonna put a link in the description. You guys need to do your work and go up and subscribe now. So, thanks, guys, for watching. And if you guys also have the time, go check out Shorty's new show, The Shorty Show. Go
Please.
check out his show. He's got a couple episodes up, and you guys got to check it out. So.